I think it's a little bit like her title is a little bit like a clickbait title, like the Reality Restoration Project. Is the restoration of reality doesn't need a restoration because reality is
the book you're holding in your profile picture.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Selfishness is not virtue, but then when you read the book, it's she's trying to make the argument that altruism is the better economic model. See, uh, so she's saying that all these social welfare programs and sacrificing self for others is one of the reasons why we have so many social um, problems and economic problems. Why we have is exactly because of the socialist economic model of altruism.
Yeah, but I can apply that to art. As far as you can't love others if all you're doing is giving it to others. Until you have then you have none to give. You're empty. So you need to be selfish and love yourself first.
Because we're doing too much for ourselves, or too
No, for others.
We're putting others ahead of us. We're being selfless.
So that would
So
cause
selfless
less
is to leave
equity.
yourself.
Less equity.
Well, if we're talking about love, yes, because if you're just trying to love others, you're not, and you're leaving yourself out.
Where in that definition is just, as if all we're doing is helping others? Where in the definition? And it's a bunch of bullshit. And I'm empathetic. There you go. Like ego-driven fucking bullshit. And so you guys can subscribe to that all. I don't feel very comfortable subscribing to Duke here, but
I don't subscribe to it the way that she writes it, but I subscribe to it the way that I say. Because if with my daughter, I'm not being selfless because I'm taking care of myself. So there's a divine aspect or a good selfishness. I'm just saying there's good and bad in all of them.
Everything that's in Beyond Freedom Integrity, Beyond Freedom and Dignity, being Skinner-Skinnerian school of thought that all there is reward and punishment, which is true, right? The only motivation we have to do anything is reward or punishment. Obviously, we can say we're doing something to help others, but there's a reward of us feeling good, right? So, to get us to do things that cause reward and punishment, unless we had some other objective way of getting a reward. Doing things that just give us a reward. So if you want to use selfish like that in that kind of definition,
Well, look at it this way. On this app, there are people that will say if you're not engaged in deconstructing and fighting structural racism daily, you are the problem. And that's why I read philosophy. But Bima, you never heard somebody say that on this app? Well, what I'm trying to say is if I read philosophy, I'm just. Well, that's okay. You know, you run your show with your green bean the way you run your show. But the point is,
yeah, fortunately, I don't yell at people.
Oh, you don't yell at people on your show all the time? Got it. Okay.
I do come into other rooms.
On my YouTube channel, if you'd like, I could send you the. What I'm trying to say is, I study philosophy. So if there is structural racism, well, my solution is that everybody should just read philosophy daily.
Send me that YouTube channel. I'll send you what I have on healing crystals. I have a YouTube channel on healing crystals.
That sounds like a fair trade.
By the way, structural racism is that.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Same thing, thank you.
Sounds almost like Trump saying, they all see this. They all see this.
Well, it's
All in, like in a lot of the stuff we've been saying, we every day we have to do X, Y, and Z, or all we need to do is, or when we're being empathetic, it's like all or none kind of stuff. I think when people don't like something, they tend to do that to bolster their argument because it sounds more ridiculous if you were doing it every day or
it's all or nothing statement. Cognitive behavioral therapy that's called a distortion disorder, all or nothing thinking. So, for an atheist, I think Steve does an awful lot of all or nothing thinking. For example, soul, because that is the one topic that always, after you find back at where we started, which is
Some, a hell of a lot more than I say all or none. I don't know where he's getting that from.
well, you're Jewish, but you're an atheist.
Oh, so because I'm Jewish, I say all or none more than some or most. Sounds to me that all Jewish people do.
That have been set forth on algorithms that people subscribe to. And people could just see that these algorithms are steering their internal mindset about things that they see in society.
Well, let's see if you've heard this before. And sincerely, I'm asking you if you've heard the following before. There's no question in my mind and prejudice, no question about it, and they work within the system. But the system itself today that is systemically racist. Have you heard that before? Dude.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Working to adapt the system so there's not as much systematic
you, dude.
Not an attack, but I have yet to hear anything novel from you. Everything that you said are in books, algorithms in books, algorithms. Say something unique that you wouldn't find in any algorithm or on the internet.
Kids here. I wasn't making much noise though. What's that? The problem. Hey, is that a Versace room?
I'll tell you something you won't find on an algorithm or on the internet.
Are you going to? Are you going to the party?
No, I don't.
Violation of the rules.
You're right. I'm in my mid-60s. I violate the rules, or at least those rules. Some rules. See, not all or none. Some. No.
So I'm just wondering, how does an atheist in 2026 on Clubhouse respond to the question, is there a soul? Or do you have a soul? Or are you just a body living in a soul? You know, how do you grapple with eternity or providence or destiny? Do these words mean nothing to an atheist?
I thought you were going to ask me something hard. That one's easy. I do not believe that a soul exists.
And when you ask about a soul, that's a subjective thing as well. Define the way that you're thinking of a soul. When you say soul, what do you mean? What's your belief in a soul?
I'm expecting new.
Nice work, Joe. Hope they bring comfort to your soul.
I do believe in souls.
Yes.
It's on point. If not, you all can, speak up against it. But John, in my entire life, all 60. How did you come to
The shoes that I'm expecting today are shoes that I did order without trying them on, and they're the best shoes I've ever owned. So the
of stumbled on them accidentally, and I had never found they were evil. Even from the company that makes them, I think they just continue.
You know this because when it comes to boots, when you first try them on, they don't fit the same as if you've been wearing them for a couple of weeks.
One curveball question is but yeah, it's so often you think about the one thing that you did in your to find those things. It's fun to think of them in life. I do this so often. Talk about the day that you did something that sort of changed your entire trajectory, or at least you think it changed your trajectory, right? They're usually very easy. I love the exercise I love doing is think about what made you be here right now. You know, and like you go back and you think through it, get as much of the randomness as possible and try to think like why. Feels like what I would say a lot of the reality that had to be now, and think that because it exists, it somehow is a little bit more magical than it might be. While it's very, very cool to you, there's nothing magical about it. It had to be. Determinist.
Well, since we have a rabbi here, Caleb, can you maybe tell these atheists what Shavuot is?
You know that Caleb was a determinist. I didn't know that.
I'm not.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Can you?
But I have no idea. So why would I be a belief-based person about it?
And for the person that asked, my understanding is a determinist is somebody who believes that everything that happens in our lives is predetermined.
Yeah. I mean, when you look backwards, it was predetermined. That's what I mean, right? That's what Caleb's talking about. But was it predetermined before I did it? No.
Oh no!
Why would I believe it?
Determined by what or who, though? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's tough.
Well, that's not included in the definition by who or what.
Well, look at the Ten Commandments. Yesterday was a Jewish holiday, Shavuot, and the first two commandments are, you know, what if you're an atheist in the 10 do particularly?
Foundation for the rest.
Well, but really, all of them, except for the three that are so perfectly fucking obvious, it's hard to imagine anybody would need a god to tell you, or don't kill lie,
bear false witness,
all that stuff. I mean, really, don't get me started on the Ten
shall not
Commandments, or I'll
steal,
read you my
don't
plain
commit
English.
adultery, honor
And
your father,
one child,
honor your
like
mother.
actually, you think that it's like common sense isn't very common, and depending on a person's
Well,
childhood.
that's on the algorithm.
Yeah,
The one thing that is 100%.
Interrupted, so that gives Steve an invitation to interrupt us.
Sorry, I apologize. I'll go after you.
World. People are conditioned in a way that is not very common sense for them, even though it is for probably most, if not all, the people in this room. Can I just read my? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sorry.
If I may, very quickly, there are two things only that are 100% factually the one. That is, we do not believe in God. Other than that, we're all individuals.
I always feel like the Ten Commandments should be plastered in every public. Actually reading them and realizing how profoundly they are. I mean, here's what the second commandment literally says: don't draw, paint, or sculpt images of stuff that is in heaven, or that is buried, or that is in water under the earth. And if you happen to find any stuff like that, ignore it. Because if you don't, I'll fuck with your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and possibly your great-great-grandchildren. That's literally.
Really? It just says you shall have no other gods before me. So that's, it's a concept. It's introducing a concept. I'm just saying, you're taking it really far out there.
Actually, John, Jude is right. That is not. Jude is right. That is not what it says. You added quite a lot there.
Well, I think I challenge anybody to tell me anything I said that is not exactly what.
The word fuck.
You're right. You got me. But that's why I was going to stay outside and wait.
Right.
Worshipping idols, right? Worshipping false gods. How do people create idols?
Through covetousness, through desire.
Sculpting stuff. I mean, are you trying
Through
to
desires.
that one really shouldn't sculpt stuff, images of stuff? It's not talking about art. It's talking about creating idols. Not
a physical object. You can idolize something in your.
Guys, the Israelites made idols. They had idols in their own temple.
But the second commandment literally does not refer to idols.
Yes, it does. Because the word, and you're just going to have to trust me on the Hebrew here, John. Okay, and I'm going to be pedantic about it right here. Lo ta'aseh lecha pesel. Pesel has to do with carve, not make a sculpture. This is about making physical images.
I know, I understand.
Physical representations.
It says, here's what it says in the version of the Bible that I know: thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of.
What is graven? What does graven mean? What does graven mean?
Well, let me read the whole thing.
What does graven mean?
We can get into the details.
No, but this is the one. This is the issue we're talking about. Graven.
I think. Okay, so let me finish the fucking statement. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
Okay.
It does not talk about idols, does not talk about holy things.
John, hey, John, I gotta say, when atheists read the Bible this way, they're reading it just like the fundamentalist literalists. Okay? You're not taking into account any of the cultural landscape, any of the Hebrew knowledge we have about the cognitive linguistics about this passage. Okay? I know more about this than you do on this. I understand the point that you're making. Okay? But the implication, the cultural implication, okay, the cultural signpost that we know linguistically, archaeologically, anthropologically, of what this would have meant to the people that wrote it and to the people that heard it, they would have known that it meant idols. And we know that it means idols because of the very next verse. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. You can't bow down or not serve to something that isn't an idol. You're reading like the fundamentalists, and I beg you, you're much smarter than that to do that.
Okay, so the literal words, don't blaspheme or use profanity, because
Oh, you need to read that one
I
again,
will
John.
find you guilty if you do.
Yeah, John, why do you use profanity all the time? I mean, I'm a 43-year-old man.
What translation are you using? You're using a terrible translation.
Literally says.
Can I give you a better translation here? It's a very, very bad translation.
Okay.
We can go with that. You don't have to trust my Hebrew.
What translation?
Not here anymore, Jim. All right. That's all that happened. He wanted to talk about the third commandment, but began with the second commandment.
Caleb, when
So
you're
this is
not,
advice to atheists. Here's advice to atheists. If you want to talk Bible with the people who study the Bible the most, you better come and know your Bible.
Caleb, when it says do not make an engraved image, I put in the chat that is a way to teach people to not think of God in terms of symbols. Is that really what the commandment is trying to get at in the teaching of it?
Yes, there's definitely meaning, a thick meaning underneath what these commandments mean in their own cultural context. It's not simply jumping in.
Caleb, I want to thank.
Well, I am an expert in this field.
Perform. I'm offended. I don't feel anything when people criticize my atheism.
They say atheists are bad. Atheism is bad. Hitler was an atheist. Like, people say all kinds of horrible things about atheism. I have never once felt even slightly
humble opinion is because when you criticize someone's religion, well, I will defer to Caleb because what he said is true. Caleb is an expert. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, an expert is defined as expert.
And Benjamin, should understand that he should have the expertise to speak about this stuff.
Oh my
Actually,
God.
he knows that I do. He knows that I do. But here's the offense, right? Here's one. Saying they're doing an internal critique when they really don't know anything. It's just something you believe or don't believe. That's different than the way that
Isn't religion just something you believe?
No.
No, religion
And although
attacking anybody's identity, nor is anybody attacking my identity. When they say there are no atheists, atheists are fake, atheists don't exist.
I admire your ability to ask questions
religion any different from politics? Because there is this communication network and there is a hierarchy. And so, even in this room right now with Green Bean moderators, we have a political element to who is in charge of the censorship, who is in charge of the leadership. And so, Benjamin, when you ask Steve and you claim that he is atheist, as if like you're trying to define him for the sake of outing him or something, I think everybody
I'm not
likes.
doubting him. He brazenly claims to be Jewish and atheist.
I know, but you've never heard of a paradox, Benjamin? Can't a man just be contradictory without always being, critically analyzed for it? Isn't that just part of life?
There's nothing contradictory about being a Jewish atheist. Nothing.
And there's
Actually, Benjamin, let me try to. So I think John was right. You're trying to out somebody. You have an identity.
Yeah,
That's why people get annoyed.
Yeah, sorry, Caleb. The bottom line, Benjamin, is that religion did not work
I think
for
Steve thought you were talking.
religion, Benjamin, did not work for you. Religion works for me.
Yeah. I want to respond to Caleb's point.
Respond. My God.
A good point.
Jewish atheists exist. And please get back to us.
Come on, Steve. I know Jewish atheists exist, and I don't need to go to ask the rabbi anything. I'm here asking you.
We do exist.
Of course you exist, but how do you define?
confront and offend people because
just fucking cynical, right? This notion that it's about that the way that the reason that I choose an identity has something to do with anybody else except me.
You know what, Caleb? It's interesting, this last dialogue within the past 60 seconds, because what I noticed about this specifically is Benjamin just admitted
You guys can argue this formatted show, which is Prove to Me God Exists. It's a comedy gong shong show. You're just a participant on the show, Benjamin. I hate to break the bad news. Well, great, but my complaint and critique of the atheists is not that God
have ears. Whether or not God exists. No one's argued that. So maybe it's you that need ears.
Atheists say they have a lack of belief in God, not that God doesn't exist. And if you're going,
what are you talking about, Yoni? Say God does not exist. What are you talking about? There's not a little bit of God in that equation. There's no God in that equation.
Says that.
Well, everybody's going to say their own particular position. I mean, Yoni, you're trans. How do you view the trans ideology? Because to me, trans ideology is really what happens when the pawn crosses the threshold and becomes a queen, a transformation.
right?
I get it, but since we know it's like the ego or being gay. If they
are very prophetic. I realized that Eastern are white. I was so confused, like it's Scottish, Irish. Like, I didn't know if you're from Egypt, you're white. If you're from like Greek, you're white. I didn't really know. How come?
So, Riri, you were just trolling chillism an hour ago, and now you're in here going to do the same thing.
No, but I'm just saying it. If you're Greek and Portugal, you're white. How is that possible?
listen, if the conversation about okay, so the more you think, the more you speak, you're gonna get. So that's why I go back to this universal joke about God, meaning that about atheist versus theist debate. It's a great format, but it's gang, or you're basically united.
Back to that point.
Hello?
So you said the more you speak, the more you get away from the truth.
Hello?
You're the one speaking the most.
Categorizing people is a history of denigrating the other.
What'd you say, Willis?
Well, I was hoping to get back to the point with Caleb, which is this notion of categorizing. We categorize people. The history of categorizing humans is a long history of denigrating
Absolutely, yeah.
the other.
I just want to know, like, I'm European. Imagine, yeah, based on the invited to what, Rain?
To you, that was the topic of conversation.
Oh, I was offline all day yesterday, so I wouldn't know.
Well, that's what you think. YouTube channels and watch any of the live streams because that would be like, cloning or duplicating and just wasting time. But anyways,
I tell you, I don't like coming in rooms with you when you're YouTubing stuff.
Yeah.
I think you're a goof.
Welcome.
Hi, Sam.
You're welcome. But see, when you say,
Are you recording us right now, John?
well, when Sam says that I'm a goofy idiot, I think that's just projection. Because I don't think I'm goofy. Yeah, I don't think I'm an idiot. I don't think I'm that on me and roasting me. I just want to hear it because it's fun. I
I have
love.
no problem roasting on you in person.
Yeah, I love getting
Should we have you
roasted.
roast around?
Yeah! Yeah! Change the title. Let's roast John Kitover. Kitover for brunch.
That sounds like a good time.
That's a great
I'm
room
down.
title.
Can we change the title? Kitover roast beef. It's the Kitover roast beef round. No vegetarians allowed. That's right. Like
Let John Kitover help you process your lack of emotional intelligence.
we
because of personal responsibility. When a dog owner doesn't value their dog and lets their dog do discovery on its own with no, ownership intervention, that's when problems begin. So anyways, I'm just saying, to talk about it for so long, Karen is a jerk. Keep your dog on leash and don't let assholes at the park or the beach that want to call you out on your shit, don't let them call you out in the first place, because don't take your fucking dog off leash. Maintain control. Practice personal responsibility. Hello? And I think Serendipity said the same thing, right?
That's right. That's
But that beachfront Karen was very annoying, and he's lucky that I'm not an aggressive, nasty person. And I just wanted to avoid the conflict and de-escalate. So I left. But there are people out there that will not de-escalate, and they will enhance the conflict. And that's the problem with maybe some of the people that have green beans in this room right now. Instead of de-escalating for peace of mind and your own well-being, I think some of you ladies may have in your past, unfortunately, escalated a situation. money back because I told them what would happen if they didn't give me my money back. And they agreed that my legal, notification was of sufficient harm to their position. And they said, okay, I'm going to give you your money back. So they gave me my money back. All I'm saying is I was happier before this app, and I will be happier when this app shuts down. And the other day, a week or two ago,
John, I've given you a lot of floor space, but I do have one quick question about the statement you just made. I was happier before Clubhouse came along, and I will be happier after Clubhouse is long gone. Do you think there's a little bit of accountability in that you could choose that? It was so odd, but then cussing and talking about getting drunk and stuff. But their voices were like baby talk, and it was like it's like seventh grade boys behavior. It was kind of like that. Zero and Chubby maybe y'all. And then I went to another room and it was the same thing, and I just thought I'm losing. No, I was gonna start a group too, but serendipity came to me. Just, girl, I started some mess this morning too, a little bit on this app, so I was like, I gotta get away.
I can answer your question. Serendipity, I think there's some projection in the question that you asked me. I would ask you to ask. I was. See, I was happier before, and I will be happier when it's long gone. Yeah, that's what I said. I know what I said. I know what I said. I'm saying that it's still just your opinion that there's a difference between you and me. Right from the very beginning of your statement, you said, here's the difference between me and you. Well, it's just your opinion. I unblocked Alistair, but this one's blocked mine.
I don't.
Listen, anonymous.
Honestly, I don't even generally mind John. Put a sock in it for a minute.
I know. I just wanted to say one last thing. That if there is an anon, if there's an anon in your room and you don't know who it is, there's a good anon. It's me.
Yeah, we know.
Oh, okay.
Well, who knows? Thanks, Sue. Appreciate you.
Hello. The truth is, you never should have cared from the beginning, and that's a you.
Right.
That's a you problem.
That was me. If I want to have a kid over. I just want to know that this is for the whole room. Why do you want to be in a space where no one wants you? If you're getting the signal that you're not welcome, then that's because
Frenzy, because I got to that part about reading from books and how important it is, you laugh.
college life. Yeah, you know, it may surprise people to know that I'm trying to think how to put this. A lot of reading the classics informs a lot of what's happening today, and one realizes, well, gee whiz, nothing's new today. You know, so you read a book like The Bostonians, and you see a very detailed description of what the feminists did at that time.
I read there's a fire up there now. Maybe by y'all have to tell me what the name of that city is. I guess Ventura County, somewhere in Simi Valley. I'm not sure. So guess what happened? He got on
social media because he didn't have any more hay. And those people, the horse people, I guess is a small community. He's getting hay from all over the country, and the people who own the ranches are sending these 18-wheelers with hay, all from all around the country. He filmed it to donate to him. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So there seems to be a will, maybe no will.
actual loss in staff and positions and capabilities as a result of AI. But I think what I liked particularly about your submission is that you spoke to alternate ways in which the key word is deployment can actually happen. So, as you're probably familiar, ChatGPT, OpenAI just launched their deployment agency. And the reason for that is the issue that a lot of corporations did not understand how it can actually be used within the organization. So, I mean, of course, a lot of people would assume that, replacing jobs is the necessary conclusion of individuals within the work. I didn't get it, but I had an interview. And the question was related to my industry that I was in previously, which was insurance, as to what deployment would actually look like. So, I mean, the questions you ask, of course, is what are the bottlenecks? What are the expenses? What are the pains that these corporations are actually having? So, within insurance, a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like you said, a lot of people don't find insurance sexy. So, there wasn't a lot of new staff coming into insurance, and in terms of cost, a lot of people are not aware, but I mean, commissions is actually the largest cost center for insurance companies. So, or automation, or their job in that sense, but it would just mean less commission. agnostic. So it's going to depend on the organization. It's going to depend on the cost centers. It's going to depend on, like you said, I mean, whether they believe that, the liability.
Know that the chosen priest, that's all infinite space, is the and in his woman called given. To the hearts of men. 16, for he is ever a son. Stooping starlight. 18, burn upon their brow.
I'm just doing some computer work. I was watching Trump speak right now.
Did you see Meta? You live in Louisiana, right?
Now I live in Alabama.
I used to have a good friend in the Army from Shreveport. He was a very, very cool guy. But Meta's $10 billion Louisiana data center is getting $3.3 billion in tax breaks, more than 7 years of the state's entire police budget. But anyways, what is Trump doing? Is he in the Rose Garden or something?
No, he's
I will take out those targets that were easy and that I mentioned just before. We'll take them out so quickly, they'll never be able to recover, ever. If they want to play that game, they better not play that game. In the long run, oil supplies will be dramatically more secure without the threat of Iranian ships, drones, missiles, nuclear menace, or anything. So ships there, we have the best equipment in the world, inspecting for mines. Again, most of their ships are down at the bottom of the sea, but we will hit them so hard that it will not be possible for them or anybody else helping them to ever recover that section of the world if they do anything. In recent years, the regime and its terror proxies have launched attacks on hundreds of commercial greatest people in the world. Nobody's ever greatest people in the world. Nobody's ever a powerful country. They were going to take over thousands of missiles and everything else. Most are now destroyed, but they were going to take over the Middle East. Those weapons were aimed at Middle Eastern countries that had nothing to do with this. They were going to take over the Middle East and they were going to try and destroy Israel. So we stopped it with good timing, and we're very proud to be involved in this, and it's going to be ended soon. And if it starts up again, they'll be hit even harder. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do you approve of Iran's new
We had a lot of people on the line from our side, from his side. We were talking about Ukraine, which is just a never-ending fight, and it seemed to get it together. But I think it was a positive call on that subject, and we obviously talked then about the Middle East, and he wants to be helpful. I said you could be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. That would be more helpful. But we had a very good talk, and he wants to be very constructive. Yeah. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Iran, you called it
Cuban American business people, some of them are like the most successful.
As a freelancer and content creator, some months are great and some months are just not it. Here's how I make this.
Lived without Venezuela, they couldn't have made it, and we can make.
Footage that showed that American missile strike and a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the Americans, will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I have as we leave here, I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But the big risk on that war in the first 2 days, when you think about it, it's incredible. We wiped out a big navy, very powerful navy. You know, these were ships, these were serious ships. These were ships that you buy when you want to win battles. They're all on the bottom floor. The sailors are all running off the ships. They refuse to get percent, and they'll soon be down to nothing. We'll have where they manufacture. My attitude along with the people in the Trump administration, what we
additional oil waivers or sanctions. Can you talk a little bit more about that and address in particular?
Well, we're looking to keep the oil price. This excursion into a very positive thing. I mean, this was an excursion that a lot of people wouldn't have done. I knew oil prices would go up if I did this, and they've gone up probably less than I thought they'd go up. But I don't think anybody thought we were going to be this quickly successful. This was a military success, the likes of which people haven't seen. We have the best military. We have the best equipment. We have the best generals. We have the best. And this went very quickly. We talked about that with President Putin. He was very impressed. confirmation that this voter is a citizen of the United States of America, and we want no mail-in ballot scams. So we have accepted for disabled and for people that are away, business trips or whatever. Even vacations will be very liberal in that. We've added two things to it: no men and women sports and no transgender mutilization of our children. We don't want it's the mutilization of our children, and we don't want that. So we added those two things. That's the 5 points. We have 5 very good points. It polls at 86%
Live
with Democrats. One of the things we have to do is get the Democrats to stop the Democrat shutdown, because, as you know, the apparatus that looks into that, Schumer and the Democrats, our country a lot, but the Democrats have to open that up. But we've got very, very good intelligence into that. We know a lot of different things that have happened that have been very bad. Some of them came in during the Biden open border period, but we have them under. We've got them. We're watching every single one of them. Yeah, we know a lot about them. The biggest problem we have is the Democrat shutdown. We know a lot about them, but the shutdown doesn't allow us to do what we have to do.
Do you
We've taken out 100 million barrels of oil. It's right now in Houston being taken care of and made so beautiful. And you have to see this at work. They have it's brought to the refineries. It's being refined in Houston, which is made exactly for that product. And so we had to do. I didn't feel we had a choice. If we didn't do it, they would have done it to us. I felt based on the negotiations that were being had by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco and Pete and everybody was involved, I felt that they were looking to tap us along before they hit, and I thought they were going to hit. To us, as it does to China, we're really helping China here and other countries because they get a lot of their energy from the Straits. But hey, look, we have a good relationship with China. It's my honor to do it. Yeah.
Leader, you have called
because that would be inappropriate. But hey, look, I had a target on my back because, as you people wrote pretty well, they caught the assassin that was after me. So we just got them first, but they caught the assassin. They have him now in custody, those after me. So, but people don't like to mention that, but they did catch him. And I'd like to congratulate our military, Secret Service, FBI, all of something incredible. We had an idea where he was, but not specifically. That's a big mountain. So
I have two quick questions, Mr. President. What was your reaction when you learned that Kurdistan region had resumed exporting oil to the international market with your support as United?
Six of them go down, then you start hearing the purr through the vast number of people. And then who would do that? And they're incredible people, but they've lived so horribly. They've lived so horribly. You know, Iran was a great country if you go back 25 years ago or so. hundreds and hundreds of these people. That's pretty good. Is he central casting? But because hundreds of people could have been killed. So we had people that were within the military that said this is not a wise, and I understood that, but I decided to do it.
Was there a point that that you were thinking there's too much on the line, and somebody was saying maybe we abort this now and wait? I mean, given the resources like the general said, it seemed like there was so much on the line here. You must have been thinking this could have completely changed.
So the first one, which was in many ways as dangerous as the second, I guess, because we're flying over daylight. You know, we're the best at the world at night. We have goggles that we have goggles. I've tried. Was told that this is a very dangerous mission. I understood. They didn't say it's a foolish mission. They said we're going to be sacrificing hundreds of people to do this. This is, I mean, you have tankers that are flying over this area so that because the flight was so long, they had to refuel. It's a very dangerous mission. I just felt it was worth it. If you would. I would have said that would be impossible. Yeah,
Mr. President, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome back.
Okay.
Given that you are now dealing, you say, with a more reasonable, less extreme leadership in Iran, what does that mean for the protesters, for the human rights movement in the country?
This should have been. We should have done this a long time ago. So it's not something I like doing. It's very dangerous, and we're getting there. $757 with cash, billions of dollars of cash, and he sent it over to me. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. You can add others. He chose such an unlikely candidate. Nobody could believe it. Frankly, if you're going to choose between Iraq and Iran, he should have befriended Iraq. He went in the exact opposite direction of all thinking, and he made a terrible mistake. But that was a road to a nuclear weapon.
Here's to Dine Out on the Water.
That they still haven't been able to get it. It was obliteration. But if we didn't hit them, that was a courageous decision too, because we had all those planes flying in at night. And they were able to do their job. If we didn't do that, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon at a high level, either one of those two instances. And if they did, in my opinion, I told this to Bibi Netanyahu yesterday, perhaps a different Iran right now, because he's never been replaced, you know. And I did one other, but this one was not picked up. Osama bin Laden. If you read my book, I said you got to take him out 1 year before the World Trade Center came down. So I wish you'd read the book. But you, as the president, to be a good president, I believe you have to have good instincts. A lot of this is instinct. Yeah, please.
Thank you so much for taking my question, sir. Mr. President, last week you suggested that Europe should take the lead on reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
Before that, you don't want the Kurdish forces to enter Iran and be harmed. Do you still want them to stay away? Or what role do you expect them to play now?
I'd rather have them stay away.
And then,
I'd rather have them stay away because I think they bring with them some problems and some difficulties. And another thing, they bring death, I mean, you know, to themselves. But I'd rather have them stay away.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the question. Deliberate attacks on civilian infrastructure violate the Geneva Conventions and international law.
Who are you with? New York Times has no credibility. The credibility they have is it used to be all the news that's fit to print. The old gray lady, it was great, but they're running on past fumes, and you can't keep doing that. You have to be able to give the correct news. And people like you, who I know, are fake. You're fake. Go ahead, please. Of this stuff is long enough, and they're at the weakest point they've ever been. They have no Navy, they have no...
Most of my income comes from my freelance work, which ranges from $1 to $2 a month. I'm out to have content creation ranges.
Communication. In fact, the biggest problem we have in our negotiation is that they can't communicate. I said to Steve, what are they saying? Sir, they can't communicate. They have no method of communication. So we're doing communicating like they used to communicate 2,000 years ago with... and 700 miles an hour, aimed at the Abraham Lincoln. 101 missiles. Out of 101 missiles, 101 missiles were shot down. unbelievable technology. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't know if that would have been possible, but 10 years ago that wouldn't have been possible. 101 missiles heading to a ship that's not that far off the coast. And out of the 101 missiles, we shot down all 101. We have weaponry, the paper. They would have leaked it, and we wouldn't have been nearly as successful, possibly, right? To the victor belong the spoils. So we haven't heard that in, I think, maybe hundreds of years. Now with Venezuela, and we just so you understand, the people of Venezuela are polling higher than anybody has ever polled in Venezuela. So after I'm finished, go to Venezuela. I will quickly learn Spanish. It won't take too long. I'm good at language. And I will go to Venezuela. I got to run for president. But we're very happy with the president. Maduro released hundreds president who probably didn't know, and we had a border czar who never went to the border. The person who won the Nobel Prize came to me and said, "You deserve the Nobel Prize." She announced that. When they announced, they said, "Goes to Maria. She's a great person, really a good person."
Are there certain kinds of civilian targets, though? I'm thinking
I don't want to tell you that.
hospitals that you.
I don't want to tell you that. We have a plan because of the power of our military. We will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business. Demolition by 12 o'clock, and it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen. If I ever do this again, that's going to be the head of my Joint Chiefs of Staff. That way, didn't we? It's amazing. We took out ISIS. We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks. I was told.
please let us know. Arash, welcome to the stage. How you doing? What are we getting from Iran? Two or three, but if we want, we're not going to let anybody go through. It's not up to them. They don't have anything. They have no navy. They have no bullshit. They have no us. Right? So anything that happens over there is politics. John, what's the substance of this agreement?
There's no agreement. There is no agreement.
No agreement.
This was a press conference for Trump to make an ultimatum on a Sunday to capture the world's attention. He talked shit about NATO. He said he was disappointed in Great Britain, disappointed.
Because these Ayatollah, these, you kill one of them, 5 other motherfuckers come up, right? So once again, it's not about the people of Iran, but I look at it that way as well, right? So I don't know, man. But Trump's doing what he's got to do, and he's smart. He's gang, and I love him, and he's doing the right thing. We'll see what happens.
Those are nice words, but I don't see any deal here.
Well, you don't have to see it. He knows, maybe.
Well, I don't see it. You don't see it, and you want to know what?
Well, me and you or nobody.
Give you an update.
See, no, you tell him 24 hours to give me an update. And CC me too. Like that. You know how many $1 million you give to this Iran? That's why I say fuck you, Obama.
Too many.
Yeah. And did they use one penny for the people of Iran?
They used it to spread terror.
Exactly. So fuck Obama. I love him. He's a good people too, but fuck him for doing that shit. Fuck him. If $1 of that money went to the people of Iran, I wouldn't say this.
We'll see what happens.
The people of Iran, inside and outside of Iran, they're called inside of Iran. They could be amazing presidents or whatever, right? But the people in Iran are calling one person, which is the Shah's son. Okay, that's the only name. They're not calling my name. They're not calling.
Name brand recognition. He's a name.
Listen, his dad spoke 20 languages. He flew they had learned, they had education. They have, in the world, they're other people, brainwash people come out, So whatever happens, man, I always just wish the best for the people inside of that country, whatever country it is, right?
And now it gives Trump more leeway to engage Bush war. This is a Donald Trump war where to the victor goes the spoils.
John, you think it's right? John?
timelines. And as you heard, he speaks like a developer. Oh, we're 7 weeks ahead of schedule. Excellent. Now we have 4 more additional weeks to do this. The man is your worst enemy. He is the destroyer of your union. Oh, you want to take it a day at a time, huh? Well, DJT does not sleep. DJT is a very hardworking, well-organized person. And guess what? The New York one yet. So he's not easily rage baited himself. And he that and the criticism of violent genocide and wars, but people are boring, El Normo. And as somebody who has made a lot of content, probably sold it to Soros. Or they sold it to Ellison. The value in these radio networks is actually their website. Like, do you follow Sinclair Broadcasting at all?